Hi, welcome back to Marilyn Monday. I'm going to tell you a little more about some of my favorites. I know I told you some before, but these I think are a little more personal, you know? Like things my friends would know. And aren't we friends? Almost everyone knows what my favorite perfume is because I tell everyone, but I don't always tell them why. I'm sure you know my favorite is Chanel No. 5. I mean, I like the smell and everything. At one time I even had 26 whole bottles of it, but there's more to it than that. Coco and I actually had a lot of things in common, and not all of them were good. Like we were both born in a charity wing of a hospital, or we both grew up in orphanages and boarding houses. But we did both fight for control of our companies, and that's important, you know? I just adore art. I like to get right up close to it and feel the textures of it, and really squeeze it. I let myself feel the way the colors make me feel. And it's a lot like modeling, where you look where your eyes want to go, and they take you all around a painting. As an artist myself, I think it's important to surround yourself with beautiful things that inspire you and just light a fire inside you, you know? I actually have a lot of these beautiful things inside my own home. And I went to UCLA in 1951, where I studied art appreciation. But I think I already appreciated it quite a bit. One of my favorite artists is Sandro Botticelli. I actually had a reproduction of a Botticelli in my apartment in LA. I also adore the work of El Greco. And they're all so different. And doesn't everyone love Michelangelo? And just look at the darkness of Goya and the thrill of it all. I'm not totally convinced they didn't steal this for Titanic either. And I just love Picasso's use of color. I mean, even without color, it's so masterful and beautiful and simple, you know? Now, almost everyone who knows me knows I like Dom Perignon, but they might not know that I like the 1953 vintage. And it rates better than any other year of Dom Perignon, to this day. That's probably why it's so hard to find. There was a list made of the most expensive champagnes in the whole world a couple years ago, and Dom Perignon's special label made the list 3 separate times. And they were all between about $2,000 to $4,500. But that's not how much I used to pay. I'm a girl who's had a lot of pictures taken of her. And you know what? My favorite one was taken by Cecil Beaton at the Ambassador Hotel in New York in 1956. February 22nd to be exact. Josh Logan, he was the director of Bus Stop, and he had it framed for me, and it hung in my living room in New York. I must have had stacks and stacks of that picture. It's the one I sent out if anyone needed an autograph. There are actually 2 of my performances that I'm most proud of, and one of those was the Asphalt Jungle, which is really the one that started it all.
Marilyn Monroe as Angela, the easy-living, green-eyed blonde.
Haven't you bothered me enough, you big banana head? Just try breaking my door, and Mr. Emick will throw you out of the house. Mr. Emick wouldn't commit a crime.
He would and did.
When I first read for the role, I was so scared I shook. I'd studied my lines all night, but when I came in to read, I just couldn't relax. Mr. Houston asked me to sit down, but there were only straight-back chairs all around the room, so I asked if I could sit on the floor, just to get comfortable. But I was still nervous, so I asked if I could take off my shoes. Anything, he said. And then I read for him, and I was so sure I was awful. But before I had a chance to say anything, he kind of smiled and said I had the part all right. And then he said I'd probably turn into a very good actress, which is really what I want to be.
Uncle Lon.
It's the only thing to do, unless you want to be indicted for obstructing justice.
What I said yesterday was... Well, it wasn't exactly... I mean... It wasn't really the...
Was it the truth?
No, sir.
You weren't with Emmerich, were you?
No, sir.
You were someplace else and you were not with him.
Yes, sir.
He told you exactly what to say, made you learn it by heart. Answer me.
I mean, yes, sir. I learned it by heart.
Natasha Lytess was my on-site acting coach, actually for both of my best screen performances. After my last scene wrapped on the asphalt jungle, I said to her, I don't know what I did, but I do know it felt wonderful.
I'm sorry, Uncle Lon. I tried.
I had left my first husband, Jimmy, in 1946 to work on becoming an actress, and you know what's just crazy? Here I was in an important role on the red carpet, only 4 years later, and who's working security outside the theater at my first real premiere but Jimmy Doherty himself? The next project I was the most proud of was only 2 years later, and it was called Don't Bother to Knock. The director, Roy Baker, he was on a real tight budget, so he used the first take of every shot. Isn't that terrifying? Even Natasha said I was terrified of the entire project. But I knew what the role required and how to do it, so she said she had very little to do. She simply tried to infuse me with some confidence.
The screen has never shown this kind of woman before. The kind that reaches out in the loneliness of the night to a stranger passing by. I should have seen the warning of danger in her eyes. But what happened in that suspense-filled night was about to change my entire life. Why didn't you tell me you were working here?
I'm not. I'm just doing it for tonight.
Yeah, I know. You're an heiress. I can't figure you out. You're silk on one side and sandpaper on the other.
I'll be any way you want me to be.
Why? Why is it so important?
Because I belong with you.
You all right?
Yes.
Try to have a different shade of blonde for every role, because you know every role is a different person, and I owe it to the fans to give them a little something different. Thank you ever so for watching. I do hope you enjoyed it and got to know me a little better. And if you would, please like, subscribe, and share this with your friends. I just love making new friends. And I'll see you next Monday, okay?